Welcome to another St. Pete by Night revamped production. The following is rated for mature audiences and may contain graphic themes that will be distressing to some viewers. As always, we recommend you ensure the safety and well-being of yourself and those around you at all times. Viewer discretion is advised.
In the heart of night, we rise from shadows, howling at the moon, igniting our battles, cleansing dire of an endless fight, until our final days we will fight. Thanks, man, we stand united as one. Evil spirits lurking with horror and dread. Little light leads us where the grave dare tread. Glory and honor, wisdom in our hand. Together we rise, take our final stand. Everywhere we run, the wind is at our back. All the warring forces we will track. From the depths of the ocean to the clouds in the sky, vampires tremble as we learn to fight. Rage across Tampa, in this fight we'll stay. Evil spirits lurking with horror and dread. Little light leads us where the brave dare tread. Glory and honor, wisdom in our hand. Together we rise, take our final stand. Rage across Tampa, in this fight we'll stay. Everywhere with the pack, let the night be our guide. In battles of honor, we shall never hide. Those who never hide.
Good evening and welcome back to the St. Pete by Night Entertainment Network, where we play St. Petersburg by Night, a massive multiplayer 5th edition World of Darkness chronicle set in the city of St. Petersburg, Florida. My name is Kent, also known as Misha Kent on all social media, and I am the lead storyteller of St. Pete by Night. It's Tuesday night, and you know what that means. It's time for Rage Across Tampa, our Werewolf the Apocalypse 5th edition chronicle. But it's not our only Werewolf the Apocalypse 5th edition chronicle, because if you've been paying attention to St. Pete by Night on all of that social media listed down below, you know that we started a second Werewolf the Apocalypse chronicle over on our YouTube channel called Hell Hounds. And some of the events that happened tonight may have something to do with some of the events that occurred just this past Thursday or this past Friday on Hell Hounds. So we recommend that you go check out that debut episode of Hell Hounds and possibly stay up to date on the events of Hell Hounds, because they may have a little bit of an impact on the events that occur here on Rage Across Tampa. So for your viewing pleasure, we recommend that you maybe check out both programs from time to time to, get in the loop of what's going on. But that being said, last week, our pack found out quite a bit of new information as Aspen and Jester returned to have a pack meeting to get the rest of the pack up to date on the occurrences and what they found at the park, with the revealing of this new growth of strange plant that was growing within the park. However, when they went to reveal the plant to the rest of the pack, all they found was a bunch of ashes within the bag, because the plant had decayed at a rapid rate that was unbelievable to any kind of plant that Lucas had ever seen. Dreams, however, using his spiritual gifts, was able to look beyond and see the historical remnants, the spiritual remnants that were still within the remains of the plant and saw the history of the plant, tracking it back to when it was planted, and saw some of its previous forms and was able to get some more information about that plant. And so he made plans to go to the source of where it had been planted to see if he could find more information. Aspen planned to meet with Matthias and to meet with the new reinforcements that were coming into town. However, what she found when she met those reinforcements was more than she had bargained for. And so now, tonight, she plans to follow up with Matthias about what she did find and to see how that is going to affect things going forward. The pack also took a much-needed reprieve to the biker bar to try and get some morale after all of the recent events. Here they learned more about the bikers, Lucas even initiating himself as a prospect into the bikers, trying to ingratiate himself to try and find a position within the bikers to try and start his aspirations with forming an underground movement in the city of Tampa. They also started to learn that the bikers may be more aware than they let on about what's truly going on in the city of Tampa. They also learned just how dangerous things are in Tampa in the fall since Bloody Mary, as the vampires seem to be getting more and more bold and more violent in the fallout of Bloody Mary, as order is not being upheld in the city. With no sheriff, no law force to keep order, the vampires are taking violent measures to get what they need, especially since the resources that they had once counted on are no longer available to them, thanks to the Garou, who disrupted those sources some time ago. So as we get to tonight's story, of course, I couldn't tell that story alone. I would need some pretty talented super players to make that possible. So, players, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves, if you please?
Hi, everybody. I'm Champ, Champagne, Liger. It's pretty much my favorite animal. It's like a lion and a tiger mixed, bred for its skills and magic. Whatever you want to call me, and I'll be playing Aspen Wise / Oathbreaker, Philodox of the Silver Fags.
Hi everybody, I am Nori. I will be playing Malicious Jester, the Galliard of the Black Furies.
Hey everybody, I'm Walks, and I will be playing Lucas Shaw, the Ragabash of the Shadow Lords.
How's it going, everyone? My name is Preston. I played Jason Dreams-In-Decay Thorn, Theurge of the Bone Gnars.
Champ, weren't you like 10 when that movie came out, or maybe even younger when that movie's got to have celebrated its 20th anniversary or something at this point. I don't even know how to rate that at this point. That's very, very impressive. That is such a date. I feel so old right now. That is, wow. That's amazing. Anyway, as I said, players, we have some interesting developments coming as we have a raid happening tonight. For the past several weeks, you've been scouting out a nest, a den, where some of these leeches have been holding up. But that's going to be coming in the second half of tonight's story. We pick up tonight in the first half following a very rocky introduction to some new recruits, some new reinforcements that have come into town. Aspen, it's later that day, after you met the Hell Hounds, after they had arrived in Tampa and had been brought to the cairn by Matthias, where you and Jester had been introduced to them. After their introduction, Matthias said he would meet with you later in the evening at the hotel that he'd be staying at, the same hotel he had stayed upon previous visits. So, later in the evening, you head to that hotel to meet with him, going through the fancy lobby, up the elevator, and to the suite where, heading through the lavish double doors, you walk in to find Matthias waiting at the same small cafe table, both chairs already at the ready for him to greet you. He already has 2 glasses set out, although they appear to be brandy glasses, and you can tell from the bottle set upon the table, it's already had a few drinks poured from it. And you can see from the glass he's holding, he has had some of those drinks already. But as you enter, he stands up, moves behind the chair, and pulls it out for you. Miss Weiss, come in.
Thank you. And she'll take her phone that she's kind of been staring at as she's walked up and lock it and put it away back in her pocket and sit down.
We have much to discuss.
That is an understatement.
Indeed. Why don't you start?
Sure. First off, I do want to say I'm happy you're back and that you were able to help us by bringing us people that we've desperately needed for a while. I also want to say that you have taught me most of what I know, and I respect you so much, and we wouldn't be where we are without you. With all that being said, in the most respectful way, what the hell was that shit show?
He chuckles softly as he retakes his seat and picks up his glass and takes another drink from it before setting it down on the table. I was as surprised as you were. I had only just met them myself earlier in the afternoon. When I had met with the leadership of the Sept, I was given no forewarning of what we were to receive in terms of reinforcements. I was merely given assurances that help was being sent.
I guess there is something to be said for beggars can't be choosy. I understand.
Correct.
So, like a quick check them out before you, take a test drive in the car before you buy it type situation.
I wasn't given that opportunity. As you said, beggars can't be choosers, and this particular Sept was very guarded. The fact that they were willing to meet with me at all was generous of them. And they were one of the only Septs I reached out to that was even willing to meet. And they didn't even meet with me on their land. They met with me at a remote location. That's how apprehensive they were. That's how guarded they were. I agree with you. The situation isn't ideal. And I understand why we must be concerned. However, I see it as an opportunity. And I hope you do too. Because if we can take their worst and turn it into our best, what do they have to say? How can they criticize? How can they fault us? We have to expect this. from the old nation. We have to expect their mockery. We have to expect their disgust. We have to expect that they are going to look down upon us, that they are going to do anything that they can to bring us down, to show us that what we are doing is folly, that the old way is the only way, to try and bring us back to heel. So of course, they are going to send us their broken pieces. But if we can show them that those broken pieces aren't broken, that they have value, that they too are still part of this nation, that they do have a place in this fight for Gaia, what do they have to say? What can they criticize? It just shows the folly of their ways, that their ways are the broken ones, that they've been doing it wrong all along with their trials and their executions, because by their way, you wouldn't be here. You would have been exiled for what you did. Or worse.
Right.
Now, that's not to say what they did doesn't deserve correction. And I think you and I know there's no better corrector than the one you named Warder.
It's true. I do worry that he's got a lot on his plate. We fought some of the strongest leeches in the area. We've dealt with cults. We've got a legendary tier of Gaia from the Umbra. And I think this is one of the biggest asks that I've been asked to take on.
I understand. I do. But you're not taking it on alone. And you're not taking it on with the inexperience you had when you took on those other challenges. You've learned a great deal. And you have more resources, more knowledge, and more backing than you ever had then. Plus, you're not going to make the same mistake of not asking for help when you need it.
Fair enough. You've always been great at reassuring me with the logic and that I can't argue. So it's helpful.
And at the end of it all, if they want to give us their trash to throw it away, we throw it away. If that's what needs to be done, if it truly can't be redeemed, we'll do their dirty work for them. What needs to be done will be done. But we will give them a chance first. A chance that they wouldn't be given anywhere else.
And you know me, I'm a bit stubborn and I love proving people wrong. So
I do.
the project couldn't have gone to a better place, I guess.
I would have sent them home if I didn't think you were up for the challenge.
Fair point. You've missed a lot, you know.
I'm sure I have. There's a lot to catch you up on. I learned a great deal of the struggles that they themselves were having up in Michigan. It seems that some of the issues that you might be having down here may also be felt up there as well.
Based off of the vinyl that one of the others gave me, it seems like at least Piney Point has connections.
So you have a location. I had just heard rumors.
We do. There's something happening in Piney Point with a blonde woman. She is working on something up there. We know from the past that it was a big problem for the last sept, and there's history there. Jester found a report in one of the storage units that talked about the connection between Piney Point, Endron, Bateman. It's all connected somehow. We've just got to figure out how.
I think part of the reason the Michigan Sept was willing to meet with me was hoping to get more information. And I was willing to oblige them to a point because I knew we had to give in order to receive. And in the efforts of goodwill, trying to unite us means sometimes giving more than you get. Piney Point. That name sounds familiar. Well, at least we have a target to start with. But this group will need work. They're certainly not ready to be released out into the open yet.
Three times. Three. Anyways, to that point, real quick, if I could interrupt, what proper punishment goes to someone who broke the litany 3 times and already has the right of shame?
In the old nation, execution. In this nation, Charles.
I think that's good enough punishment. Absolutely. I think you're right there.
We have to consider what they've been through, where they come from. They are clearly young. How young, I can't say. But their elder, the one that came with them, from my meetings with the elders of that sept, she seemed to be the most level-headed one. Most soft-spoken of all of them, but the most level-headed. And the fact that she came here with them says something. If you are going to learn anything, she is going to be your best inroad. Plus, I know you have a way with Lupusborn.
I do.
She is going to watch out for them. She clearly takes a sense of ownership over them. Very protective of them.
I think that's just a Lupus-born thing. They're protective of their families.
Yes. Does make me wonder, though. Why them? Either Gaia has a very sick sense of humor, or Gaia is very sick.
Well, goes back to beggars can't be choosy. And I think that even goes for Gaia.
Indeed. So, as far as the Sept in Michigan, they had reported that there had been shipments from Pentex. They had not been encountering leeches. There had not been a great deal of leech activity, at least not in the areas they had been patrolling. It's a lot more remote, very few big cities. Detroit, for the most part, had been the only city that had encountered a great deal of leech activity, and the Garou of the area did not tend to frequent the Detroit area. They preferred to stay away from it. However, Pentex seemed to be taking more of an active hand in the outskirts, especially in development, active development. Apparently, a few members of that pact, or that pack, were actively impacted by subsidiaries of Pentex. You may have a few grudges within that pack. This might be something to watch out for.
You know which ones.
I don't know specifically. That is something that Stakes Her Claim may have more information on.
Okay. Maybe we can use that and fuel that for a purpose. Maybe get them on the same page. Hopefully.
Indeed. But the latest development seems to be fertilizer. They're smuggling something in the fertilizer. Growths, plants of some kind, based off of what you said. That seems to show some relevancy to something that's been developing here. Would you like to tell me more about that?
Yes. Well, Jester and I, this just happened recently. We're out and there was a weird plant. And I know that's vague, but it's hard to describe. It had eyes and thorns and blinked and all around just disgusting, really.
Had eyes, it blinked, and was relatively disgusting.
Yes. It had a flower, and that's the petals were the ones that had the eyes. And then when we picked it and went to go take it to Jason and Lucas, I'll get to Jason soon, but it was ash in the bag that we had brought. And it had only been maybe a couple hours from there to meeting up with Lucas.
Interesting. I don't know a great deal about plants, but I know they don't decay at that rate.
Right. And we're pretty sure it's coming from Piney Point. Lucas had said there was weird things happening with the blonde lady in the area with something to do with plants, I believe.
Well, from what I can tell, based off the reports from Michigan, they were using the housing developments and the fertilizer in tandem. They were going to use the fertilizer and in the housing developments to plant these plants all throughout the state in these new housing developments. At least that seems to be the case. This pack actually intercepted one of these shipments of fertilizer. So they have some capabilities.
We can look into some of the housing developments around the area, see if there's specific fertilizer being used, and see if there's a connection in that way too. Because the closer we get to the fertilizer, it sounds like the closer we could potentially get to the plants and figure out what's really going on.
The name of the company is High Quality Builders. Although they are anything but high quality from the sounds of it.
I'll see what I can find, and I'll have Lucas help me out as well and see what we can find out about all of it over here and prevent it if we can while we're trying to figure out what we can do about Piney Point specifically.
As for the pack, I've put them in a house in a rather out-of-the-way neighborhood where if things go wrong, it won't draw a lot of attention to that particular neighborhood, as it is the kind of neighborhood that doesn't get a lot of attention. So should it get messy, it should be easy to cover up.
Smart. It's a good idea.
It's a start.
I think so. Do you know anything about the sept that was here before? Any histories, any whispers, anything?
I did some research when I knew that you had taken up residence here. The sept of the Weeping Willow, formerly under control of Joseph Blackrock, a Shadow Lord, for some time. It was a sept of some stability that fell upon hard times, and as those hard times increased, the nation fell out of favor with the nation. The nation chose to withdraw from and had recommended withdrew from the area as they found it too dangerous to defend. Felt that the leeches had too much strength here. A strong contingent of leeches had formed within Miami to the south and was moving its way northward. The Garou had pulled back out of Florida for the most part, except for this sept in Tampa. The nation had recommended that the sept pull back to Georgia. They refused. So when they were asking for aid, rather than send reinforcements into a death trap, the nation refused to send reinforcements. And those that remained eventually died. Some saw reason and left.
Interesting. To that note, because Bateman was a big part of the, I guess, interminglings of Piney Point back then. According to this report, I have to reread. But he's connected, and I understand you guys run in similar circles.
You could say that.
I wanted to have a way to get closer to him, but without having you too heavily involved, because I don't want that to ruin what you are trying to build here now with helping the new nation. I was wondering if you would help Jester integrate herself into those circles.
Do you think that's a good idea after their checkered history?
I think it's a risk. Absolutely. I think there comes with a lot of potential downfalls, but I think we need somebody on the inside. We need more information. He's a steel vault, and we need somebody to at least be able to get close. And if anybody deserves to have that luxury, that would be Jester.
When Charles proposed a test for her at the New Year's party, I was apprehensive at first, but he made a very compelling case, and so I acquiesced to his request at that time. But she did present herself very well, and she performed admirably. I will say, I have not heard a great deal about Edward Bateman in the social circle since that night. I have reason to believe that he has gone underground. But should an opportunity present itself, I think that I can possibly create an opportunity, yes. And if you believe that she is up for it, I can make something happen, yes.
It would be potential to get more information, especially if he's gone underground. Then we really don't have a lot of access to him or his whereabouts or what he's been up to.
I wouldn't make this your primary focus, Aspen. I know that you feel very strongly, especially after recent events. But there are dangerous developments occurring. If Pentex has a presence in Tampa, they are a much bigger threat than the leeches. Even if Edward Bateman has some involvement, even if he's connected, he is like a subsidiary to a much bigger threat. And if he's underground, he's not even something to be worried about. I'll keep an eye out, and if an opportunity presents itself, we will seize that opportunity. But he cannot become an obsession. Not now. Not with this other threat looming. Because if you ignore it, it will only grow like a cancer.
I had no intention of ignoring any of our problems.
Very good. Now, there's another matter we need to discuss. A new cairn.
Yes. We have a new cairn, and we spoke with Eliza, and it's been thriving. It's been doing well. We did it the way I said we potentially would. So Eliza helped us, and we awakened the cairn, you could say, by binding our souls to said cairn. We will be protecting Gaia for always, long after we're dead, and something about us being potentially trees.
He stares at you as he raises his glass and takes another long drink from it. You don't think that was a rash decision?
Okay, I knew that the reaction was going to be not great because the last we talked about it, you said it was not exactly the best idea and it could cause issues amongst the nation and people who are already looking at us a certain way, gives them more reason to look at us a certain way. But that was before we have a brand new pack that we are now trying to build up. We are taking others' trash and making it treasures. I think all of this together shows that we are doing things differently and that what we're building here is different and it doesn't have to be like the old nation. So I think all of these things together are good things. I think they show that we are different and building things different.
So we can add proverbial heresy onto the list of crimes that we're committing.
Why would you say heresy?
We don't understand what you did. Nobody understands, not even Miss Ross truly understood what you did. So you say.
Right?
This was a leap of faith into the unknown.
Right.
Do you think, from an optics perspective, on top of everything else that's occurred, that's going to go over well?
Well, first of all, I don't think anything that I will be doing from here forward will go over well to most people. But I do believe that it shows that we are different. And I believe that if people have a problem with taking a leap of faith or doing something that we don't fully understand, they would all be hypocrites because we do that every day.
Baby steps, Miss Weiss, baby steps.
It would have been just one thing. I was not prepared to have a pack of children here as well. So baby steps became, well, large leaps. And I think people will come to understand. And if they don't, we can make them understand. On that note, Artie is out playing nice with other Cairns.
Well, you're making both of our job a lot more difficult. This is going to be a very difficult sell.
I believe it could be. I believe they could come to it and see it and feel the connection that's there. You felt it when you were there, I'm sure.
Yes, it was strange.
A good strange.
Yes.
I know we're people, you and I, our tribe, are ones of logic, ones of thought and foresight and all of that. But I think you can't deny feelings as well when making these decisions.
I suppose you're right. You were here. I was not. You were faced with a difficult decision. And I did not put you in this position to control you. I put you in this position because I have faith in you and the decisions you make. Is it the decision I would have made? Not necessarily, but I believe you know what you're doing. As I said, this is going to be a very difficult sell to the others. But this entire endeavor has been a difficult sell to the others. What's
Kind
one
of,
more thing?
Kind of comes with the territory, literally and figuratively. But we have another theurge, so steps forward as well.
Really?
Jason has come in to help us, and he's been already very helpful.
Tell me more about Jason. I did not hear from any of the other septs that a theurge was being sent.
Jason is a bone gnar, I believe, from Ohio. Bit of a scrappy child, had his own pack, owned a bar. These are just a few things I've gotten from drinking with him. Yeah, he's a bit rough around the edges, like Lucas, but he's very helpful and seems very knowledgeable about spirits specifically. And I think he'll be a great asset moving forward. And he fits into the kind of vibe we have going here.
I had not had the opportunity to visit Ohio yet. I was going to make my way there after Michigan. Did he say how he had heard about this sept?
I can't quite remember. I know he had heard things and knew that we needed support. I assumed he walked in with his patron when he walked into the cairn. So he's got a close relationship to his patron.
You can see Matthias visibly relax when you mention the patron. Good. That makes much more sense. There has been, obviously, a strong gathering of bone gnars to this area, and with it being a major metropolitan area, that makes sense. Just
absolutely.
With the cult having had a presence here, with Pentex possibly growing its influence here, we must be wary of potential insurgents. When people
Absolutely.
show up saying that they are willing to pledge loyalty or that they were sent, you must be especially cautious. There will be those seeking to infect what you're doing here. And if Pentex is truly aware of you and what you're doing, they will target you. And they have the means to do it in a indirect way or a direct way, however they see fit, but they're not going to come at you violently first. They're going to use every other means at their disposal before they do a direct assault.
Understood. I think we have nothing to worry about with Jason. He also didn't walk into the cairn and break the litany 3 times, so that's also check on his box.
That's true. Rubs his forehead as he takes another drink from the glass and then grabs the bottle and pours another one into the glass.
So some other quick updates, because you have been gone for a while. The cairn was the biggest one. Jason coming in. The potential of Jester infiltrating in the Bateman spheres. But we can slowly work on that. I won't push that too far. Lucas is building his underground. He's decided to use the bikers that were pretty close to Ryder, and now Jester and I. And let's see, Artie is out doing emissary stuff. Lucas lost his worm companion. That was a whole thing. You called me on the phone when we were doing all of that.
Oh.
But when we were doing that ritual. But other than that, I think we're going to be moving towards Piney Point and trying to unweave all of those threads that seem to be interconnected.
Move carefully and slowly. As connected as Edward Bateman and Bloody Mary were, Pentex is doubly so. They are it took the old nation decades to root out Pentex. And every time they would, Pentex found another way to hide. Every time we caught them, they would escape. They cover their tracks better than any other organization or company. They have their fingers in government. They have their fingers in military. In every organization you can imagine. They are the very essence of everything we despise, of everything we are trying to undo.
How would you suggest moving into that space and keeping everyone safe?
If you are truly going to try and take on a Pentex entity, you have to do so on every front. Now you are starting to build the means to. The law firm you are establishing is a good start. You could tie them up from a legal point of view that could stop them from taking any front-facing actions. The underworld organization you're creating is a good start as well. Having a theurge, having several theurges, because they also have spiritual influence. Your actions have to be subtle and as unseen as possible. You can't let them know you're coming until you are ready to strike. If they catch even a whiff of what you're doing, they might just uproot and move somewhere else. They will disappear. And they will cut and burn all ties to do it. They are not afraid to sacrifice. Their resources are infinite. If you think I have resources, I am a drop in the bucket of what they have. This is the greatest threat you've ever faced, Aspen. And it is a threat You're not going to beat. You're going to beat back. If we are going to truly beat it, we need the entire nation to beat it. But we can beat it back from this area. That's the best we can hope for.
Okay, I'll put more effort into beating it back.
Take your time. Every little victory is still a victory. But it is a cancer. It grows and it spreads. You can't ignore it.
Okay, we'll get things in order to make sure that we're fully prepared.
This is why we can't turn down the help that we get, no matter how flawed it may be.
Understood. Thank you, Matthias.
I'm here. I'm back, and I'm here to help. I may still leave from time to time to gather reinforcements, but I have turned over the sept in Idaho. I've turned over leadership to my second so that I can focus my efforts here.
Thank you.
This is important. I believe in you. This new cairn will be what it will be. I hope you're right. But this is important. We'll show them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, is there anything else I can do for you?
Could you get me a poster, potentially laminate it, with all of the tenets on it?
I could, but it is a potential breach of one of those tenets in getting it made.
Well, I was thinking if you had your own space to laminate, I just thought.
Oh, I
would
could
have-
do it, but I'm just saying if it were to fall into the wrong hands at any time.
I was just going to put it in the other pack's house so that they could study it and learn it.
So if they lost it, it would be their breach.
Well, there is that potential. Maybe it's not a good idea. We'll leave it alone for now.
I suggest they just memorize it orally.
Fair enough.
Don't be afraid to ask for help. Like I said, I'm here. I will let you know if I have to travel again.
Yeah, and if you do travel, just keep in touch. Things get crazy here really fast.
As I said, that particular sept was very twitchy. So they had certain requests that I tried to abide by to win their favor. Now, seeing how they responded, I'm not sure how much of their favor I exactly won, but we'll show them.
Absolutely.
Now, have a drink with me. And he reaches over and grabs the bottle and uncorks it, pouring a glass for you.
She'll kind of relax into her chair. Less, business, more hanging out with a friend.
How is Aspen feeling now as opposed to when she walked into this meeting?
Aspen, when speaking to Matthias, she always leaves more at ease. This is somebody she looks up to and somebody she respects. And of course, there's potential. He's not happy about certain things and she's not happy about certain things, but he's always encouraging and she respects his opinion a lot. So she's just a little bit more at ease than she's been in a long time.
So his mentor and protege actually get to put business to the side for the first time in a long time. We transition now to a park, a very familiar park, Hillsborough River State Park, a location where a very peculiar plant was found just a few days prior. Jester and Dreams-In-Decay, you returned to this location on Jason's request because he wanted to see just exactly where you found this particular plant. So as you arrive, both of you on your own motorcycles, you park in the parking lot and begin the walk, retracing your steps back to the location where you found the plant. Jester, you had made sure to bring along the aura shades to make sure that you could also see into the Umbra beyond, knowing that Jason has the gift and it has no need of the shades, but just so you could both be seeing the exact same thing. But the scene is yours as you are walking along the path towards the location.
It's a nice ride you got.
Thanks.
Did you like inherit that, or like have you been riding for? Like, you seemed comfortable on it, so.
I did inherit it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's a big bike. Nothing against you. It's just a big bike.
Its previous owner was a big man.
Yeah. Honestly, mine too.
Hmm.
So did this plant? Did you see it anywhere else, or is it only in like one spot? Like, if anywhere else around here, like, did you see it?
I didn't notice it anywhere else. Like, we only found this one. But it could be. This is a rather nice sized park, so there could be others. I haven't seen any though, but I do know that I've been checking some forums I know of online, and there are other locations in different parks and preserves that people have been seeing strange plants pop up.
Okay.
I'm planning on going and checking them out if you want to come with me at some time.
Yeah. Absolutely. And details are huge when it kind of comes to this stuff. When it comes to like trying to understand, especially on the spiritual side, sometimes the smallest detail will paint the best picture of what's going on. And if it's skimped over, I can't get a whole picture. And then I can't really help that way.
Okay.
So anytime you might think something like it's a stupid detail, say it. It might be like the key to unlock something.
Okay.
Okay.
On that, I guess we didn't mention, like, Aspen did get pricked when she picked the flower. But it had a lot of thorns anyway, so, I mean...
Okay. Pricked on the finger, like thorn stuck in, or like just poking that popped out?
Poke and popped out, like...
Okay, so there's nothing. Okay, so it didn't like stick in there. Just curious, want to make sure like something didn't like break off or anything. Okay.
I use gloves when removing it because...
Smart. A logical thing to do.
Yeah.
About Aspen. She's a bit rigid.
I mean, she's a silver fang. Aren't you used to that sort of thing?
Yes and no. Everyone, everyone else in the pack so far seems to be almost on the same type of level, like the vibe level almost. She just seems a little off. Like she would fit in, but she almost made herself rigid.
Yeah. She's I want to say she's going through things, I suppose, would be a good start to that. I so I told you we killed Bloody Mary, I guess now 2 months ago. Time passes when you have a shit ton to do. During that fight, we lost our Arun, Aiden. Um, she was really close to Aiden, like sibling kind of relationship close, like close siblings, and I don't think she's dealing with it. Not even well or good or bad, like at all. And I think that has definitely changed her attitude a bit.
It's been about 2 months though.
Yeah.
How are you handling it?
I mean, grieving, mourning him, I miss him, but I think I'm okay.
So, okay, so he died 2 months ago. He's on a rune fighting Bloody Mary.
Hmm.
In a sense, doing his job as an Arun.
Yeah.
That sibling aspect. That's the part that's hurting.
Yeah. Um, Aspen doesn't want to see any of us die. Like, I don't mean just like on a normal, like, we'd be upset and stuff. Like, she really seems unwilling to accept that it's a real, almost inevitability for Garou. She's unwilling to accept that. So she goes to great lengths. And I think this has hit her particularly hard. I'm trying to I'm trying to help her through it, but she's not letting me in.
Honestly, it's a good trait in a leader, though. Want to make sure that the pack stays alive.
She really cares about all of us.
I can see that. She is very authoritative, but she has a lot of care behind her words.
Yeah.
In a Silver Fang kind of way.
She's not usually like that. Usually she's a little warmer. But she's in Ice Queen mode right now.
What a great time for me to show up.
Yeah, I know. If I'm going to be honest with the history of this pack, probably no time would be a great time for you to show up.
Noted. Got it.
There's been no great times. We've had one crisis after another.
So I mentioned details are important. I kind of, when doing what I do, I see it like a picture. When this was brought up to me by Rat, it gave me an outline of kind of what I was stepping into. Now, when I got here, I talked to some of the locals here and some of the spirits, which provided some of the overall shading to what I'm doing. A perspective I am missing, though, is the Garou one, the one like us. And who better to provide such details than a Galliard? So you told me that there was a leech issue here, and it sounds like it's still going on. Is that our big issue right now? Is that the thing that we got to focus on the most as far as moving forward? Is that something that is taking top priority? And I was told spirits. I just want to see from your standpoint, what do you think is our biggest opposition we're facing right now?
I feel like, okay, so the leeches, the previous sept that was here 10 years ago that fell, like, I mentioned that there was a combination of things, but afterwards it seemed the leeches were the ones that stayed and got to really dig in and like take root in the city, basically. The biggest problem we had was Mary, because she was the actual biggest physical threat. She was the one in the old sept and this sept really who came for us. Like, she personally came to the other cairns and killed the Garou and destroyed the cairns with like help of the black spiral dancers that were there at the time. And then with us, like, she was the biggest physical threat. Bateman, and well, he's the one that's like least shown his face of the leeches. I know there's a whole like hierarchy going on there. Like, handles things on the legal side, and I guess the media side really, because he's good at manipulating the media. But I haven't heard much about him, and it seems that whatever control the hierarchy had at this time has kind of turned to chaos, because what's going on now, at least with the leashes on the streets, is they're trying to fill the hole that was with Mary. They're fighting each other, they're causing chaos. Like, it's dangerous on the streets, but it's not the same as Mary. I think we can probably clean that up pretty quickly. I'm more worried about the plant thing happening, because apparently it's part of some group that is powerful, like some company, I think. Really need to ask somebody on that. Have you ever heard of Pentex?
Here and there.
Okay, well, apparently it's this Pentex group, and they've gotten these weird plants. They've apparently put them in fertilizer and gotten them as far as Michigan. Where else they shipped them out, I don't know, but we have proof that they were shipped out in fertilizer to Michigan. So that means they're already spreading it outside of the state, outside of the city, and that seems pretty big to me. The spirits, though, are kind of important, because without their help, we're kind of fucked.
Yeah. Sorry, I do this. I lied. I'm aware of what Pentex is. We had an issue with them back in Columbus at an old hospital. Old abandoned one. There was a lot of issues that were going on there, but we were trying to find out some of the. They're moving things that weren't necessarily legal in a sense. They weren't put through the right channels. This hospital had been gone for a while, and we went searching through it. Lula and I, Fire Tongue, she and I went in there. I found an old ledger in there, hidden way down deep into like the old boiler room of this place in an air duct. The ledger was hard for me to comprehend, but the Galliard there was able to decipher it, and they kind of moved forward from there. At that point is when Rat started hitting me with different things, so I didn't see where that really ended. So if they're hitting up there, I can make a few phone calls and see if they have any idea of what's going on over there with that.
Yeah, that might be good. Might be helpful. I just feel like if we focus on the leeches, they're gonna get out from under us. I've been, before I came here and was started thrown into the whole fight with the leeches, I was mostly dealing with fighting a particular corporation and the things it did. So I happen to know how difficult and how many loopholes they're willing to go to, and like giving them a chance to get ahead just puts us like 50 steps behind because they have the money and the power already.
It's true. Although, honestly, you guys shouldn't. You should never feel discouraged. The fact that there was a previous sept here 10 years ago, and there was such a strong presence, and then it just gone, and then you guys show up in a short matter of time, start re-tipping that scale. It's more inspirational than anything, like just to show that what being Bonar, we understand that even the smallest rat can tip the scales, and you guys have done like what you guys have done in such a short time is amazing. So I feel like there's nothing that you guys can't do.
Thanks. Actually, that says a lot since you've just been here, I guess. I
The overall stories, you taking out a leech of such renown.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, we did get her, and it was good. I'm just seeing a whole lot of other things on our plate, I guess, right now, and it's like a mountain.
Yeah, and gotta keep trudging on. I believe Miley
Yeah.
Cyrus sings a song about it.
I think so.
Yeah.
At this point, you arrive around the area that you recall having uprooted the plant. Now you remember the tree that you found the plant at the base of, and in fact, you can see still the area where the dirt is disturbed at the base of the tree where you had pulled the plant up from the base of the tree.
It was here. I'll point to it. I'll like point to some of like, if I can still find some of the holes where the thorns see, this is where it was embedded.
So it was like attached, like it.
Into the tree, and it was growing. It was going to strangle the tree if we'd left it there.
Okay. Right. If you could just watch my back while this is happening,
Sure.
appreciate it.
I'll also put the aura shades on.
Okay.
To spend a willpower and use penumbral senses.
So as Jester slides on the aura shades, and Jason, as you activate penumbral senses, as oft described before, the world becomes like an overdeveloped photograph, one over the other. You see the world as you see it all the time, but laid over it, you see the world beyond, the spiritual world beyond. And as you are in a park, the world beyond is much more lush and overgrown. The wild here has a very strong grasp, a very strong presence. It has been allowed to live and grow freely. This is one of those protected areas of Florida, which is few and far between this close to the coastline. But those that are protected, those that are preserved, are allowed and have been allowed for a long time to just be as they are. So the trees grow tall, the rivers grow wide and deep. Nature lives here. But looking to the base of this tree, where this plant was rooted, the presence of the worm can still be detected. At least remnants of the presence of the worm. Because as you look up the side of the tree, where the thorns had been stuck along the base, you can see almost like stabbed gouges in the side of the tree, where the bark around it looks like it's decayed, almost like decayed flesh that has almost gone gangrenous in each little pricked hole from the thorns. It looks like it's healing, as if the thorns hadn't been there long enough to truly fully set in and infect it. But if they'd been in there much longer, they could have probably done a much greater amount of damage. Like poison being injected. Had it gone further, it could have possibly gone into the very veins of the tree and spread throughout the entire tree itself. But since it was so close to the surface, you can see the tree is pushing out almost like a pussy ooze from these gouges. And in time, it will likely heal. But for now, this is going to take a little while to heal. The ground, however, where the roots had been gouged out, there's a much more blackened spread of decay. This is where it had more time to grow. This is where it had fertilized and sprouted from. So from the ground, you can see the earth has blackened out probably a good 3 to 5 feet from the source of where it had rooted. And in the hole of where the plant had been uprooted, as you look down into the hole, you can see possibly maggots, all of them dead, clotted and collected at the bottom. But it looks like the hole goes a lot deeper than the plant had originally gone. When it was uprooted, it was yanked out from very deep, deeper than it was on the earth side of things. On the umbral side, it set in much deeper. It grew much deeper. And from the earth, blood, red and black ichor, spews outward, bleeds outward from the ground. A mix of poison and blood spurting out still from this wound in the ground.
Hey, Jester, you said that there are some fanatics going around planting these, right?
I don't know if they're fanatics. I just,
If they're causing this kind of damage,
I think it's connected to Pentex. I don't think they're fanatics. I know there are people online who have spotted plants like these and odd plants like around, but I don't think we found who is actually doing it. Like nobody's claiming it, but I'm pretty sure. Um, Based on what Lucas has seen in Piney Point, I think it's connected.
these wounds are deep, like real deep. The tree itself looks like it's pulling through, but this, point down towards the hole. This is corrupting the actual earth itself. It's making it bleed.
With the ore sheets, I can see this, right?
Yeah. Now, in the grand scheme of things, this is probably like a paper cut in the
Right.
overall earth, but it's not great. Like this doesn't look good. This would, again, also probably become an infection had it gone for very much longer. Like, it will heal with time, but it was deep enough. This is going to take some time to heal. It had taken root for long enough that it will take some time to heal, and it did a little bit more damage than it did to the tree because it was rooted. It went down before it came above the earth and started to hit the tree, before it started to grow up. So whatever it did below was more than it did above.
Right. So the blood that I'm seeing in the umbral side, that's like Gaia's blood. Kind of like
Effectively.
we've seen before, like in the cracks of the lake.
Effectively, yeah.
That's Gaia's blood, isn't it?
That'd be it.
I've seen it before.
You said you and Charles have done some gone into the Umbra a couple times.
Yeah.
Seen anything like this over there? Anything similar?
Have we?
Not on previous patrols, no.
Not on previous patrols, but I can keep a lookout.
That'd be helpful.
Is there any
When
way
I was gonna say, if you end up finding them, if you can extract them safely, get as much out as you can. Lucas seems to know some about plants. Give him a call so you can verify that it's been completely extracted.
I do know a little bit. I did study environmentalism.
Oh, I apologize. Lucas at the meeting seemed really engrossed in it, so that's what I just took from it. I apologize. Maybe you guys can meet up. I don't know. Sorry.
No, it's okay. There any way to help this healing process spiritually, or do we just have to give it time?
You can't.
Give me a intelligence and occult.
Yeah.
If you have a specialty in spirits or anything like that, you can add that as well, but
I guess specialty in Banes.
this is not Bane. Well, you know what? I will let you add Banes to it. Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Because this is kind of a Bane infection that's occurring, so yes.
5.
So as, again, it was extracted pretty early on. Now, this is unlike anything you've ever seen before. This is a very unusual thing that's happening because Banes are their own form of spirit. The fact that there's this residual effect that's happening is unusual. Banes do damage, for sure, but it's like damage done to flesh. It's not going to have this strange residual effect that's happening here. So whatever this is kind of a new development. But from what you can tell, it's the same kind of poison that a Bane would leave behind. It will heal. Again, in the grand scheme of things, this is like a paper cut on a smaller scale. You've seen much more destruction done by like earth movers and, you know, developmental machines of the like that is going to do much more damage. So this will heal. It's the poison that might slow the healing process, but it will heal. and there's nothing really that can be done on your side of things. It's just gonna take most likely a little bit more time than typical damage being done will take.
Yeah.
Especially with the wild being as present as it is here, it'll probably help the fact that the wild is as strong here as it is with the healing process. But yeah, it's going to take some time. There's nothing really you can do.
I think overall you've done all pulling it out the way you did, getting everything out, making sure that nothing was left behind. You've done the help. It's this weird ichor pouring out of it. It's probably gonna slow it down, but the tree's still strong. The ground overall, it should take care of itself. Doing what you did was a huge help.
Okay.
Just want to make sure we catch it early on, because if it kept going, this could have been a bigger issue.
All right. I mean, this just means I'm probably gonna go to the other places that they've talked about and try to get rid of those.
Yeah, with gloves.
I have. Okay, this wasn't just like a random walk in the woods for Aspen and I have been cleaning up parks for a little while. I have gloves, I have equipment. But thank you.
Yeah. It's just this one, right? Nothing else.
We can look around and see. I didn't see any others, but I don't know.
Is there anything else we do see on like any of the other plants, trees, or any spirits in the area that are being affected by this?
Roll me a wits and investigation, since you're looking for something specific.
I can assist.
2.
With 2 successes, there's nothing else that seems to stand out in the immediate or even remote area.
Overall, I think this was it.
Okay. So, I guess this will help. Well, I mean, it's gonna help overall with everything, but once you're done helping with the spirits, are you going back to Ohio? You seemed like you missed your old pack a lot.
I'd be lying if I said I didn't miss them. I told myself I'll go where Rat needs me. So once this is done and we have everything all set, I'll see what the spirits need from me at that point. As a theurge, I gotta follow what they need. I don't want to be the guy bouncing from pack to pack, but if that's what the spirits and Gaia is needing from me, I'll do what's needed. You guys have been very hospitable and very, very nice and kind in taking me in. Short answer, I don't know.
Okay. It's fair. Is it like a theurge thing? I'm just asking because our last theurge, like, helped us create our first cairn and then he kind of left. So,
Normally,
is it a theurge thing to bounce around or?
Normally not. He built the cairn, like he did the whole ritual and all that.
The old one, yeah. Not this current one we have. It's relatively more new and we're still working on it.
No, that's not a normal thing. Because when you do that, each time you put part of you into it. So going through everything, especially as the one performing it, there's so much energy that you are pushing out to make that happen, and then to walk. No, that's not normal.
Okay.
Silent Strider?
Ghost Council. He
Okay.
built the cairn and then pretty much he had to go back to his old sept and deal with things or to handle things. So I don't know. And he kind of left at a time when we needed him. It wasn't great, not gonna lie, but
Yeah. Now, if I end up doing something like, I'll probably if it's something that I'm putting a good chunk of myself into, usually gonna stick around for that. Walking away from that's gonna hurt more than actually like building it. And no, that's not normal.
yeah.
So he went away, and then this other guy left also. Um. Our Artie.
Well, Artie's recent. He's he left probably right before you got here, honestly. Like I think same week on it. He's not permanently leaving. He's going around to several other SEPs and trying to help improve relations between them and us. Because did Rat tell you why all the spirits are mad at us? And why
I
we're
might.
needing to rebuild relations? Like, look, I know you guys are big on the secret thing and you're holding back on me, but I just want to know how much I should tell you or how
I
much you
like.
already know.
I like hearing there's perspective of those who are actually in it. With a secret, I get the summary, the thesis of what's going on. I don't get the nitty gritty of those who are actually part of said secret. So I like hearing the perspectives of the ones that I already know about. I was given a rundown on a few different things that have transpired. The whole Karen thing. Yeah, I heard about it.
All right, perspective. Old Sep fell. Eliza, who had been a theurge here, sent even as part of the she wasn't actually part of the Sep because she's Stargazer, but she was here. She was doing the work with the spirits and the rituals to help keep them happy and stuff. But she, after the old Sept fell, she lost people she cared about and fell into Hirano. And so for about 10 years, she wasn't doing the rituals to help appease Hurricane. And Hurricane was pissed.
Makes
And
sense.
so I don't know if you've watched the news or anything, but we recently in this area had two major hurricanes, like brushes with two major hurricanes. One more of a brush and one more direct.
Right.
So during that time, we went and tried to appease Hurricane, and we didn't do so well at first, but afterwards he agreed that he would be appeased if we sacrificed something. It had to be something of the Weaver. Uh, we didn't have much at the time. We threw a lot of things out there. In the end, we chose our Cairn because the Cairn had been built in a graveyard and was very Weaver focused. I'm not gonna lie, we should have asked more questions about things on the spiritual side. We did not know what exactly would happen when it was sacrificed, and I can't give you firsthand knowledge on what happened. I wasn't there. I was, you could say, incapacitated at the time. But from what I understand, Hurricane spiritually destroyed that place, and what I saw in the aftermath, it's like a wasteland.
Yeah. I'll tell you right. I'm not going to judge you. It's hard to judge someone when I'm in my own trench and trying to judge you from just peeking over mine. It's not fair to do that to someone. So I'm sure that the reasons in which it was done were justified and good. that's a hard spirit to to play with. So
It was a very hard decision, yeah. Um, Aspen kind of was put on trial for it by all the people that helped build the Karen. Um, that's why she has the name Oathbreaker now. She chose that as part of her punishment.
oh, so she's Oathbreaker. It's a just name. That's fitting. Makes sense.
Yeah, she's not willing to hide it either. She's very upfront because she wants to be upfront with what people are getting when they come in here. She's
That at first meeting her,
Yeah.
that was how she introduced herself. I was gonna lean into it first day, like, hey, tell me why.
yeah, she's very willing to be upfront and admit when she's made mistakes, and she wants to learn how to not make the same ones. So
Those who can learn from their mistakes and take the time to actually acknowledge when they've done something wrong are some of the wisest people.
yeah, she's pretty great when she's mentally stable.
Are any of you at that point? Not to make it a slight, but I did drink with you
Well,
guys twice now, so
I mean, I'm a lot better than I used to be. I think I'm okay. Sort of. I mean, like, are any Garou mentally stable after they've been in the shit for a while? Like, I mean,
not really.
you
I'm not a
just learn how to
therapist, but
deal with it.
yep, just rub some dirt on it and move on.
Yeah. I think everybody's trying to deal with Aiden's death in their own way. So,
Well, thank you for sharing your perspective. It's very helpful.
yeah. You're welcome. Thanks for telling me the truth that, you know, you'll go where the spirits tell you.
Lying to you all isn't going to benefit me at all. Because if I lie and the truth comes out, that doesn't look great on me, especially as a Bonar. So try and be as honest as I can.
I like you.
I'm a bit attached to myself, so I get it. You'll start walking.
As the two of you head back to your motorcycles, considering everything that you saw on the Umbral side, you can't help but think of the damage that was done here in just a short period of time. The gestation period of this one plant. And this plant, of the plants that could exist, wasn't even particularly harmful. It had eyes. It could see. What else could be out there? What kind of damage could it be doing? And how much time has it had to gestate, to grow? If there are other plants out there growing, where are they? And what are they doing? To Gaia, to nature, and to the world. We'll be right back in just a few minutes with part 2 of tonight's story, where 3 Garou head into a house of horrors and into the unknown. We'll be back soon. Welcome back. In the first half, Aspen got to have a very important conversation and a check-in with Matthias, especially about the reinforcements that came to back up the Tampa Sept and what the fuck was going on with that particular pack. Then Jace and Jester got to go check out the site of this mysterious plant that was growing in the park and to see the effects it was having on Gaia and the spiritual side of things, to see that it truly was not just a threat to Earth, but a threat to Gaia itself and the spirits beyond. Now, here in the second half, the hive that the pack has been investigating, the hive where leeches have been congregating and being quite violent to the humans in the neighborhood around, is about to have 3 Garou visitors in the form of Jester, Lucas, and Charles. Because while they've been scouting out the territory, while they've been scouting out this particular location, they've found that it is a rising threat unlike any other. From the mass grave of bodies that they have suspected exists within the backyard to this horrendous smell emanating from the building itself. It has been decided that this threat cannot continue to exist. It must be eliminated, and it must be eliminated immediately. Upon initial reports, it was suspected that there were upwards of 9 leeches within the building. But there could be more, there could be less. It's uncertain at this time how many to expect. So, Jester, Lucas, what are you doing in preparation for tonight's incursion? Jester, we'll start with you.
So I think I'm going to definitely have my clave with me for the incursion, along with probably that's it. I will. The moon's out, right?
The moon is out, yeah.
Okay, I will be howling at the moon for the rage. And then when we're all gathered together, I'll also be singing Song of Rage to
Okay.
give Lucas and Charles an extra rage.
So I will say you're going in already at 2 rage. So if you howl at the moon, that'll put you at 3. If everybody howls at the moon, that'll put them at 3. And then if you do Song of Rage, that'll put everyone at 4. Now, if that's the plan, and that's fine, that's what you're going in at. Which is totally fine. I just want to make sure that that's what everybody wants. You're going in full bore.
Yeah, we're not going to talk, I don't think. I think we're just going to wreck shit, so.
Okay. Just making sure. Now, Charles's plan that he proposes to both of you is to go in probably about 30 minutes before sunrise.
Okay.
Just before dawn, so that if any of them decide to get uppity and try to escape or flee, they're fleeing potentially into the sun.
Okay.
Or at least they won't have much time before sunrise to go anywhere. Lucas, how about you? Any preparations? What are you bringing? What are you doing?
Lucas is definitely bringing his clave. He's got a small duffel bag that he has taken several pieces of wood and sharpened, and he hands 2 or 3 out to both Charles and Jester, just in case. He's also really quiet, uncharacteristically, as we're getting ready to go in. He's maybe a little broody, maybe a little off kilter, more angry than usual.
Okay. So as you arrive outside of the house, Charles parks the luxury sedan almost immediately on the street just out front of the house. He walks around to the trunk of the car, popping the trunk, and as he reaches into the back, he pulls out a belt that he clips around his waist with a holster that he holsters a magnum in and a another long kind of like holster for a sawed-off shotgun that he slides in the other side. He then pulls out some really, really dark, thick sunglasses that he puts over his eyes. He looks to both of you before shutting the trunk. Are you ready?
What's the sunglasses for? You're not one to like try to look cool during a fight, are you?
This is not for style. It's practical. If they can't see your eyes, they can't attempt to control your mind.
Oh. Nice.
Lucas will reach into his pocket and take out a pair and put on two. Good idea, Wonder Bread.
Then let's begin. And as he starts to stride up to the porch, he starts to grow. And he is already about 6.5 feet tall. But by the time he's finished growing, he's almost 7 feet tall and broad-shouldered like a linebacker as he reaches the front door. By the time he reaches the front door, he doesn't stop walking. He gets to the front door and with a massive kick, kicks the front door open. With no subtlety or subterfuge whatsoever, one big foot goes through the door, and as the door bursts in, a ringing of cans and bells goes off as if there were like cans on strings hanging from the front door or jingling bells hanging from strings near the front door as the door flies off its hinges and into the residence. Go ahead and roll me a wits and awareness.
I'm also like, well, he's going for it. I'm also like going to shift into Glabro for now.
Same.
I did not make my rage check, so my rage is going to go down to 3.
I'm good on mine.
Two successes. Oh, nope, 2 successes.
3 successes.
Okay. It is pitch black within the residence. There are no lights on currently at the moment that you can see. There's no light to be detected. But what immediately assaults your senses is that smell of sewage. It is enough to make you want to gag as it hits you. Like the smell you smelled, Lucas, from the outside is redoubled with the door open. So I need you both to make stamina and composure checks as it hits your senses.
One success.
Okay. Jester, you are able to stomach the smell, but Lucas, you feel the bile rising up in your stomach. You don't throw up, but you definitely feel yourself gagging a little bit. You are going to take a -1 dice penalty for until I make you roll again. Okay. So, almost immediately, we enter into combat because from 2 side rooms, leeches jump in from other side. There is a staircase in this front room that leads up to the 2nd level, a hallway that leads to the back, and then 2 side rooms. From the 2 side rooms, leeches spring from both sides, assaulting on either side. One comes flying down the staircase, and one comes from the hallway, charging at Charles. The one from the staircase is going towards Charles, one from the hallway is going towards Charles, and the one from either side are coming towards both of you. Go ahead and declare your intentions, starting with Jester, then Lucas.
Yeah, I'll just since I'm a Glabro, I'll unsheath my clave, and I'm gonna go in for a kind of like thing. If they're charging at me, I'm just shoving the sword forward, basically like trying to impale them on it as they're coming at me.
Okay, give me a strength or dexterity. Well, are you doing two-handed?
Yeah, I'm doing
So give me
strength
a
based.
strength and melee to try and jam the sword forward into them. Lucas.
As a minor action, I'm going to go ahead and activate Icy Chill of Despair.
Okay.
To shut off their willpower.
Okay.
And then I'll take my attack action. The one that's charging at me, I'm just going to step sideways and just a one-handed slash.
Okay.
Right at head level.
So with the minor action, that reduces your dice pool by 2. So you're going to be doing
Yes.
a -3 to your dice pool to try and do the attack of dexterity and melee.
Yes.
Okay. And Charles is going to split his pool to attack both vampires that are charging at him. Okay. So, Jester, how many successes?
I spent a willpower and I got 6 successes.
Okay. And Lucas?
3.
3 successes. Okay. So as the leeches leap in from either side, Jester, you manage to jam your sword directly into the midsection of the leech coming towards you, skewering them. It doesn't kill them, but it definitely slows their momentum as they try to reach towards you, but are slowed down and are unable to quite claw at you or grab at you in any way. You can see their mouths are open and teeth bared, but they're unable to reach towards you as they are slowed down by the blade jammed in their stomach. Lucas, you sideswipe and swing at them. Both of you miss each other as you do try to swipe at them, but they are now kind of entangled with you, getting in close. Charles, however, as they both leap towards him, one hand reaches down towards the shotgun, pulls it out of the holster, and towards the one flying down from the staircase, holds the gun up and fires, and a plume of fire comes out of the edge of the shotgun and immediately engulfs the vampire flying down the stairs. The other hand, claws extend from his hand, go up into the jaw of the vampire coming forward, circle around, and tear the head off of the vampire, causing it to ash down to the floor as he just discards the head from behind him, leaving 2 just piles of ash falling to the floor next to him as he just continues walking straight down the hallway. Declare your next intentions.
So he's impaled. Yeah, I'm going to like attempt to swing the sword and basically try to cut through him or fling him off of it, either way.
Okay, so if you want, you can do a strength and melee to try and like rip the sword through the side or up and out, like
Yeah,
pulling
I'll
it
do that.
straight out through his body. Or you can, yeah, okay. And Lucas.
Having regained much of his facilities after that last attack, he's going to kind of flourish with the half spear clave and come up once again, chin level, and an upward thrust.
Okay, so give me another dex and melee but you get your 2 dice back since the minor action. You got the Icy Chill of Despair going. And Jester, how many successes did you get?
I got 6 successes with a crit.
Okay, 6 successes with a crit. And Lucas.
8 successes with a crit.
8 successes with the crit. Nice. So, Jester, as you rip your blade up, you literally tear through the torso of the vampire, just ripping it out of the body. Blade just tearing through bone and viscera as it rips out of the side of the body, causing the two halves to kind of separate a little bit, leaving it in like just clinging to what's left of the body as it drops to the ground. Lucas, as you bring the spear around, you end up just slicing through the neck of the vampire as it is dropped off of its balance, beheading it with one swift motion, causing the head to go toppling off to the side and it to drop to the ground, sprawling in a beheaded motion and slowly starting to decay. This one clearly is a lot younger, as it doesn't ash immediately, but does start to decay into a corpseified version of itself. At the moment, there are no leeches around either of you, as you see Charles continues stalking down the hallway towards the back room. There looks to be a living room off to the left and another kind of dining room, sitting room off to the right. And then there's the staircase leading up.
Is the severed head still on the ground?
The one that you cut off, yes.
Lucas will pick it up and just throw it up the stairs
Okay.
as hard as he can.
Yeah, you just huck it up the stairs and you can hear it splat against the back wall and thud on the landing.
Nice.
Sends a message.
Yeah, I know. I did that with the body in the boat one time.
You gonna follow him, or you want to go up?
I'll follow him. You gonna go up?
I'm going up.
You gonna be okay?
Gotta go work some shit out.
Yell if you need me.
They'll be yelling.
I said you yell if you need me. I don't care if they scream.
Fair.
Okay.
Okay, so we're separating into two groups here, so we'll take it one at a time. Lucas, we'll start with you as you're the solo party heading up the stairs. Are you going to do so in a sneaky fashion, or are you just with purpose heading up the stairs?
I'll go up quiet.
Okay. As you head upstairs, the smell starts to decrease, so I'll allow you to make another stamina and composure roll to try and regain that dice back.
3 successes.
So you feel your stomach starting to settle the further away you get from the smell. You regain the dice you lost from that kind of disgusting odor that you hit. That separation of the two stories does help things as you get up to the second floor. Go ahead and roll me another wits and awareness to see if you can detect any noises from the second floor.
Three successes.
Okay. As you reach the second floor, it's quiet. But tuning your finely tuned Garou senses in, you see that there are 3 doors at the top of the landing. Clearly, there's a bathroom at the top, and then 2 doors on either side, most likely bedrooms. The one to the left, and both doors are closed. The bathroom door is open. The bathroom, there's nothing inside. The tile is mildewy. You can actually see dried blood all over the mildewy tile. And in the bathtub, you can actually see a dead body kind of laying in the bathtub itself. The door to the left is quiet. But from the door to the right, you hear a low, quiet whining, whimpering.
I'm going to put my back to the wall on the right and then kind of put my clave right at about what I would estimate as head level. And then across from the hall, the door to the left, I'm going to turn that doorknob and whip it open, and then just wait at the door next to me to see if it opens.
So opening the door to the left where it's quiet, you're gonna kind of fling that one open, but stay to the door to the right to see if it opens.
Yeah, I'm trying to make them think that I'm going door to door. Maybe they want to try to jump out.
Okay. As you throw open to the door to the left, nothing happens at the door to the right. You still hear that low, whining whimper at the door to the right. The door to the left does, in fact, open to what looks like a master bedroom. However, it is wrecked. It is ruinous. It does look like this has been used as a sleeping quarters of sorts. There's several bed mats laid out. This must be where the leeches stay the day. The doors or the windows are heavily boarded over, and there are sheets put over it. Like, they have done everything they can to block out any daylight from this room. There's no bodies in this room. There's no smell of blood coming from this room. In fact, it's probably the cleanest room in this house of all of the other rooms. There's some discarded clothing about that you can see on the floor, but otherwise the room seems to be empty. The low whine still seems to emanate from the room next to you.
Wait a couple of breaths, and then staying close to the wall, not putting my whole body against that, like in the frame of that door, reach over with my other hand and the clave still up and turn the knob and push the door open.
You try the knob, it's locked.
I'm going to activate Eyes of the Owl, so I'll spend the willpower for that.
Okay.
Because I don't want to not see what I'm about to do. And then I'll turn, kind of putting what I have to in the frame of the door, and then I'll just go in for a kick.
Okay, give me a strength and athletics.
Four successes.
Okay. The door flies open. No problem. It's just one of those knob lock doors. It wasn't dead bolted or anything like that. So it breaks off, breaks open. Another smell hits you that is foul. It is not the same kind of sewage smell, but it's not as strong either. It doesn't require a roll. It is a smell of feces. Animal feces. Inside, you find a German shepherd seated on the ground. It looks slightly malnourished. You can see feces all about the room. You can see a little bit of blood on the floor. You can even see that some of its fur has been torn away as if it's been bitten or fed on. It backs away as the door kicks open and gives a low growl.
I'll take a step back and slowly shut the door. It's probably also feeling the effects of my gift. And just make sure it doesn't try to bolt as I'm shutting the door. Before I shut the door, I'm going to use the pack gift, the Scent the True Form.
Okay. What is the roll for that?
It's going to be wits and wisdom, and based on what it is going to be the difficulty.
Okay. As you project your senses outward, trying to call upon the gift that Star has granted you, trying to detect whether this is what your sight perceives it to be. What did you roll?
Rolled 6 successes with a crit.
Looking beyond, feeling beyond the fur, the flesh, the bone. The subterfuge melts away. Whatever this is not what it appears to be. This is the worm, or a servant of it. This is a leech. And it has disguised itself as a dog.
I'll finish shutting the door, but I'll keep my hands on the handle, and then I'll just listen for a moment.
You hear the whining resume. But the whining goes from that high pitch to something a little bit huskier. As if the vocal tone changed. And you hear it growing closer to the door. As if it had moved from its position by the wall, which it had backed up to, nearer and nearer to the door.
Once it kind of reaches its crescendo of getting close, I'm just going to whip the door open as hard as I can.
Give me a dexterity and stealth first, just to see if you can get a surprise attack on this.
That would be a brutal critical.
Brutal critical. What are your verbs and adverbs?
For my auspice, it is trick, misdirect, mock, and sneak. And for my tribe, it is envision, plan, scheme, and intimidate.
I will give you the critical on this one. So it does allow you to pass. It will not be a failure. So how many total successes did you get?
It's going to be 4 successes.
Okay. So with 4 successes, you swing open the door, and lo and behold, in front of you is a fully grown person with claws extended, ready to lurch out the door, whining. However, as they see you, their glowing red eyes go wide with shock. They have very feral features, like a long, messy beard and long, wriggly hair. Their face is covered in blood, like dried blood on their face. They are covered in themselves in filth and disgust. Roll your attack. The difficulty is 1. Whatever you beat it by will be your successes. Or the damage you do.
Seven successes.
Just like the first, you swing your spear through, and the clave's blade cuts neatly across the throat, severing the head from the body. Based off of the rate of rapid decay that this leech goes through, you can tell that this was probably one of the older ones, because it decays so fast that all it leaves is bone behind. Almost no flesh clinging to the bone. Just dropping, falling apart. More than just the head to the ground. Leaving just a ruin in its midst. We're going to transition downstairs to Jester as you follow Charles into the kitchen beyond. When you walk into the kitchen, you find the source of the smell. Now, the kitchen has counters that line the edge of the wall. There's also a door that leads to the backyard. However, all of the doors and windows are covered up with boards and curtains. You can even see the remnants of strings and cans, although a lot of the strings have gone slack ever since Charles kicked the door in. You can see that, in fact, most of the strings look like they were tied together all the way around the house, so that if anything was opened, all of them were going to ring. But the source of the smell is the pit in the floor. Because based off of all of the earth and tile and concrete that has been pulled up from the ground, you can see that these leeches have burrowed all the way down to the sewer system below. A hole going almost 20 feet down is in the center of the kitchen. You can hear the sounds of running water down below. They likely burrowed all the way down to the drainage system. Whatever this is, it was likely another means of disposal or entry or escape or transportation. But they put a lot of effort into tearing through the foundation of this place to make a hole all the way into the sewage system. But that's not the only thing in the room, of course, because across from you, at the edge of the hole, are three more humanoid figures, although calling them humanoid is very generous, because they are three of the most grotesque looking creatures you have ever seen. Withered, gnarled, decayed, possibly burned. They look like they have been through all of the kind of trauma you could possibly ever assume. Now, thankfully, having been at the electrical plant raid, you've seen leeches like this before, which our viewers at home will know as Nosferatu. But these Nosferatu don't look as scientific as those do. These look like the street version of Nosferatu based off of their street attire and clothing. They are dressed like unhoused individuals. They look like they have been crawling through those sewers that they have tunneled down to. And one of them is even holding a young woman that they clearly have dragged up from the sewers, who is screaming at this point, trying to fight back against them. Charles raises the shotgun and fires severing the arm of the one that is holding the woman, causing her to go plummeting into the hole down below. Declare your intentions.
That hole's pretty deep, isn't it?
Yep, 20 feet deep, approximately.
You said there was a door, like doorway, and the door to outside?
Yes, there's a back door that leads to the outside. There's also the doorway that, like the hallway door that you came in, and it looks like entryways that go off into the living room and the dining room, flanking on either side.
Okay. I'm actually going to let Charles move in first, if he's moving in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he
Yeah, I'm
walked
gonna
in and shot off the arm of the one that was holding the woman.
But he's still continuing to move in.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, like if he's going to engage them first, yeah, I'm gonna let him move in and engage them first because he's the Arun. But I will be trying to assist and get him or hit one of like. I'll go for the armless one. Why not?
Okay. Are you going to leap across the hole and try and... Because they're on the opposite side of the hole.
Yeah, I'll leap across the hole.
Okay. For this one, I'm going to say it's going to have to be a dexterity in melee, because you are going to be kind of doing a jumping slash. But there is enough landing space on the other side. It's not like you're going to have to tiptoe. The hole is kind of in the center of the room, but there's probably a good 5 to 10 feet on either side clearance to get across.
Okay.
Okay, so go ahead and roll it.
Six successes.
Okay. So as you jump across with your clave in both hands, you bring the clave down in a slash, just striking straight across the armless Nosferatu, bringing it down the front, causing a gash straight across their face and the front of their torso, causing them to let out a hiss of anguish and surprise, as if they weren't already hurt enough from the missing arm that they just lost that was shot off. But now they have stumbled backwards against the wall, blood spurting out the front of them as they have this slash mark down the front. They are barely still standing, but they are in very, very bad shape currently. Charles discards the shotgun behind him, having fired both shots at this point, and leaps across with his claws still out on his offhand, and grabs another one by the chest, pulling it towards him as he reaches down and pulls out the magnum and holds it up under the jaw of one and fires, causing the top of their head to explode outwards before discarding the body down the hole behind him and turning to look at the third one. Declare your next intention.
Yeah. I'm gonna finish this guy that's screaming off. I'm gonna go with since I went for a downward slash, I'll go for like a diagonal slash up. Both hands. Can get use strength again?
Yeah.
Okay. Four successes.
4 successes. Okay. So as you swing, luckily it is in bad enough shape it doesn't really have much to defend with one arm missing, a big gash down its side, that this one does cleave nicely through it, causing it to drop. It doesn't ash, and you don't quite behead it, but it does seem to go still, no longer moving as it drops. Okay. Charles steps by you to the third one, holstering the magnum, grabbing both its arms and tearing them away from the torso, discarding them to both sides before grabbing it by the torso and spinning it to face you and holding it out.
Sure, I'm gonna take its head.
Okay, go ahead and roll me a strength and melee, and you can add 2 dice to your pool for the assist. To the head. As it can't dodge as it's being held in place.
I'm going to spend a willpower. I got 5 successes.
Okay, so with a nice clean cut, you sever. It doesn't quite go all the way through. You get a nice hack in, but the head is still hanging on by a little bit. It would take another nice clean swing to get it the rest of the way off.
Is he still holding him?
He's still holding him, and he just lets out a huff.
Look, I need practice, okay? On that. Six successes.
This one goes cleanly through, knife through butter, severing the head. He again drops the body down the hole. You hear the woman scream again as there is a splash of the body landing next to her down below in the hole. Charles looks to you. Do you want to take care of her?
No.
She can't know what she saw here.
Does that mean we have to kill her?
You don't have to. But I don't have the ability to make her forget.
I don't
And
either.
she's seen far too much at this point.
Just make it quick.
She won't feel a thing. Go find Lucas. There's 2 more still missing.
Okay.
With that, he leaps down into the hole. What do you do?
First, I'm beheading this one because I don't trust it.
Okay, so with a clean swipe, there's not even an effort. You're able to just cleanly cut the head off.
Then I'm gonna hop back over the hole and head up the stairs to find Lucas.
Okay. As you get to the base of the staircase, Lucas, you are making your way down. Or do you stay at the top of the landing?
Lucas is coming down the stairs with the skull in one hand and a multi-tool in the other, and he's pulling the fangs out of the skull. And once he gets to 2 fangs, he's just going to toss it to the side and then take those 2 and put them in his vest pocket.
Jester meets you at the bottom of the stairs. Charles is not with her.
Big guy.
Did you get 2?
Yeah, one up there was pretending to be a dog. Pretending, terrible word, was a dog. I could smell it, so I caught him off guard.
You got another one too up there?
The other room up there was empty. There's a dead body in the bathroom.
We're missing one.
Shit.
Room by room?
Yeah.
Okay.
Roll me a wits and awareness.
Four.
4 successes. At this point, from the kitchen, you hear, "Son of a bitch!" as Charles comes flying up and out of the hole, thrown out of the hole into the kitchen. You hear him hit the ceiling and collide on this ground next to the hole.
Go time.
Yep.
Kitchen.
Sprinting towards the kitchen.
Okay. As you get to the kitchen, Charles is trying to regain his feet. It was her.
Oh, so they tricked us.
Who's her?
They had a woman. We thought she was a victim.
Down below, you hear splashing of feet running down the sewer.
Smell. It's fantastic. Shall we?
Yeah, sure. I'll put my clave up. I'm shifting to Lupus.
Okay. Easy enough. You drop down to all fours, fur covering your limbs, your snout growing, your senses sharpening, and your form growing more slender from the large hulking form it was as you were in your glabro form.
I'll hop down.
Okay, give me a dexterity and athletics to try and soften as you leap down the roughly hewn stone that makes the passage downward. Now you do get the bonus dice on dexterity rolls.
I'm going to stay in Galabro and jump down.
Give me the strength and athletics for yours.
5 successes.
Okay. Yeah, easy enough. You're going to slenderly kind of shimmy your way down the hole towards the bottom of the sewer.
4 successes.
Okay. Yeah, Superman pose or superhero pose. You leap down to the bottom, landing with a knee and a fist into the earth at the bottom of the sewer with a splash. Both of you, again, give me that stamina and composure, as that smell is worse than it was when you first entered, because now you are in the thick of it. This is the smell. Okay, 3 successes. Again, you can still manage to keep it down. It is gagging worthy, but it is enough to hold your own for the moment. But there aren't showers hot enough to get this stink off for a bit.
2 successes for me.
2 successes. Okay. You're gagging. -1 to your dice pools. This is the source. This is the worst. Okay. Ahead, down the tunnel, you see the woman bolting as fast as she can down the tunnel ahead of you. She is not supernaturally fast, but she does have a lead on you going down the tunnel.
I'm gonna give chase.
Okay. Give me let's go with stamina and athletics to see if you can have the energy after a long fight to kind of give chase.
Okay.
Three.
6 with a crit.
6 with a crit. Okay. Jester taking the lead ahead. You quickly gain on her. Lucas, you are right behind, catching up. But Jester, you catch up to her first, enough to take an action or do something to try and slow her down. Lucas, you'll have to wait to the next round to do something, but you will catch up if Jester is able to slow her down on this round.
I'm gonna pounce.
Okay,
I'm in wolf form. I'm gonna pounce.
Yeah, give me a dexterity or strength and brawl.
All right. Three successes.
3 successes. Okay. As you try to leap on the woman, she actually backhands you and knocks you into the wall. And as she hits you like a truck. For how slender and small this woman is, the hit she hits you with is unusually strong. So strong, in fact, that you smack against the wall and the wall cracks with how hard you hit the wall. Take 4 points of superficial damage as she backhands you against the wall. You are not able to slow her down. She keeps going. Lucas, you are still 1 round behind her.
Yeah, I'll hit a wall. I'll hit the wall with the whimper. Not as strong as Mary, right?
Not as strong as Mary, no. God, no, not even remotely.
Okay. That still kind of hurt.
When I see Jester get smacked against the wall, I'm just going to go Krynos.
Okay, give me the 2 rage checks.
Good on both of those.
With the Krynos transition, I will say you can lose the -1 dice penalty because you are going to be able to slough off the smell. There is no mental effects at this point as you are just completely giving into your rage.
Okay.
However, the tunnel does get a lot tighter because you are big.
Yes.
Okay. Give me a... I'll say with your Krynos form, you are able to catch her in the next round. So go ahead and declare your intention now.
With Lucas shift, he's just going to let go of the clave and let it just fade away as it's dedicated to him. And he just leaps with his claws with a roar.
Give me a strength and brawl. Jester, it's going to take a 2 dice penalty for you to recover, but you can declare an intention as well.
I'm shifting to Krynos. Fuck that.
Okay, then give me the 2 dice, 2 rage checks.
Made 1, failed 1.
Okay.
I'm down to 2 rage.
7 with a crit.
7 with a crit. Okay. And what would you like to do? Like you said, you're at a 2 dice penalty because you do not have rapid shift. So what would you like to do, Jester?
You leapt at her, right, Lucas?
Yes.
I'm gonna go low.
Okay. So give me another strength and brawl.
Five successes.
5 successes. Okay. With you going low and Lucas going high, there aren't enough defensive maneuvers that this kindred can take to defend against you both. So she is able to avoid Jester's low maneuver, but not enough to block Lucas's high maneuver as claws get in and rake across the top forearms of her as she tries to block and get out of the way, raking across, causing some of the flesh to rip and blood to spew out of her arms. She is still standing, however, but she was not able to do damage to either of you. Next round, declare your intentions.
Are we on either side of her now, or did I just push her
I would
back?
say one. Yeah, you're both flanking her at this point.
Okay.
Is
As she
she
stepped out
facing-
of the way of Jester, Jester would have gone past her.
Okay.
Okay.
Is she facing Lucas or me?
Lucas.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna come up since I was going low. I'm gonna come up with a 2 rakes, like rake up.
Okay. So that'll be a strength and brawl again. And Lucas.
Seeing as Jester's coming up from the bottom, I'm just gonna go in for a bite right at the neck.
Okay. Yeah, give me that strength and brawl as well.
I got 7.
Okay, 7 success. Lucas.
7 with a crit.
Okay. Needless to say, Jester, as you rake up the back, it gives Lucas a perfect opportunity to bite down on the neck. Lucas, you sink your teeth in, getting a really good hold of the neck. Enough to get a good just jaw lock on the neck. You rend at the neck, pulling back. Your mouth is filling with this disgusting ichor. Give me a strength and composure check to see if you can hold on enough to pull the head off. But this is disgusting tasting blood that is filling your mouth. But if you are able to hold on, I will let you behead her. with
Flat
this one.
strength. Flat strength and composure. No
Flat
plus 4.
strength and oh yeah, you get the
Okay.
four from being a Krynos form. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
I'm gonna spend a willpower on that. Four successes.
4 successes. It is gross, but your resolve and intention to end this is stronger. You might spit this up. You might even vomit this up when all is said and done. But you are going to finish this now. So with Jester digging those claws in and raking the back of this horrendous woman who played upon your sensitivities, who played upon your heart, your innocence, you hold on to her with your claws buried in, Jester, and pull, assisting Lucas as his jaws rip the head from the body of this horrendous leech, tearing the head off, causing that blood to turn to ash, decaying away, leaving nothing behind but ruin, leaving nothing behind but decay. The sewers grow quiet. Nothing but the sounds of running water, nothing but the smell of waste. Nearby, there's a ladder leading up to the manhole cover up above on the street.
I'm gonna at least heal for a little bit, or try to heal.
Okay.
Made my thing.
While she's recovering, Lucas will shift down to Hamid form and just kind of stand there staring at the skull, and then just reach down and take out the pliers and start doing the same thing without even looking at Jester.
I'm only gonna do it once. I'm not gonna stay in Krynos and heal. I'll just shift back to Hamid. This seems to be a new hobby.
It's a tribute to him.
Okay.
We're all dealing with it in our different ways. All right, just
I know.
yeah.
You
With
want to
the,
head up?
with the unspoken understanding, you both climb up the ladder, pushing open the manhole cover and up to the street. As you get to the street up above, you arrive just in time to see the sun starting to break on the horizon. You arrive just in time to see Charles walking out the front door of the house. And as he steps off the porch, you watch the house crumble behind him, falling upon itself as if dropping into a sinkhole. He approaches you, the front of his suit completely covered in blood. Did you get her?
I'm rubbing like the part of my shoulder where like it hit the side of the wall. Yeah. She's gone.
Good work. This will be the first of many. Now that Mary is gone, more of these are going to be popping up.
According to Larry, the bartender at the club, they already have been. More and more are trying to either take her throne, take control. They're all vying for it.
Then we have our work cut out for us.
Yeah. But I think we can show them why they should be afraid of Garou.
I agree.
Show them something.
Both did great.
Yeah. Thanks.
Let's get out of here before the authorities show up. I destroyed the supports in the house.
Did you go to architecture school, White Bread?
This isn't the first crime scene I've had to cover up. It's hard to explain. The hole in the floor made it look like a sinkhole.
I'll keep you on speed dial if I need that.
When I first got here, I said I'd fix problems. This is one of them. You did well, Lucas.
Yeah, we're not done yet, so let's go get cleaned up.
We'll meet back at the cairn. With that, he walks over towards the car, passenger side door, and opens it, looking over towards Jester.
I'll head over and get in the seat and in the car.
He closes the door and then heads over to the driver's seat, looks towards Lucas, gives him a nod before climbing in. Lucas, you head towards your motorcycle nearby. What's going through your head as you consider and think about everything that's happened here today?
We used to be scared to fight leeches. We used to be nervous, and we used to take weeks to plan. And now it's just a night of the week that we go in and kill a whole house full of them and close down a problem. But it just seems like every time we do it, no matter how good we get at it, there's still more around. And if there's more around, then that means we don't have our vengeance yet.
Just another night. Perhaps that's a very telling sign of the state of this war and just how far behind the Garou have fallen in this war. We transition now to our final scene of the story. Jester, you're riding in the car with Charles as you're driving home. The smell of blood is still very strong in the car. Charles seems to be primarily focused on the road ahead. But he looks over towards you after a few minutes. You're awful quiet.
Suppose.
You did really well.
I mean, you were the badass there.
I have too much practice. More practice than anyone should have.
Very controlled.
You're getting good with that glaive, though. Our practice is paying off.
Yeah, well. I mean, I have what? Lots of trainers?
I suppose so.
We should celebrate.
Oh, and how's that?
Yeah. I'm thinking a day trip to Orlando. Maybe buy some tickets, get some mouse ears,
Mouse
visit
ears?
Epcot centers.
Really?
We'll probably like it. Yeah.
You see the smallest hint of a smile curl the corner of his lips, and even with the droplets of blood that are still running down his face, it almost makes him look boyish for a moment. And he has already fairly boyish features, but because of the stoicness and stony look of his face most of the time, this softens it even more. All right. I'd like that.
You know, one day when you're not dealing with the mess that is the new ones.
At that point, you see the tension come into his face again, and you hear his fingers grip the steering wheel and tighten on the steering wheel again. You even hear his knuckles pop. That is a matter to be handled very, very soon. 3 in one day.
From one person.
I thought
He's-
you all were bad.
No, they're a mess. It seems I don't think they were trained well, honestly, so I'm not saying go easy on him. Especially that one did, like, kick his ass, definitely. But we don't know what they've been through, so also might be a good time to practice your empathy on sometimes.
I will try. No promises, but I will try.
Okay. So back to Orlando because I'd rather have you smiling than looking like that. Yeah, I think you'll look good in mouse ears, and you'll like Epcot. I think it's more educational.
Not always interested in the educational part. I do want to see the castle too.
Stay for the fireworks.
He nods his head.
Okay.
Jester, you did really good tonight.
You keep saying that.
I was very impressed. I wasn't worried about you at all.
Okay.
As the Arun, it's usually my job to worry. And the fact that I didn't have to about you or Lucas meant something.
I'm glad.
Doesn't mean that we stop training, because you can always get better, but you did very good.
Thanks.
He settles back and stares ahead on the road. What's going through Jester's mind as she thinks about everything that's transpired this evening, looking at the sun on the horizon, making the drive back to the apartment?
Jester is a little worried about Lucas, but as he said, he's dealing in his own way, so she's hoping he'll be able to work out, but she's still gonna make sure she's there if he needs her. But mostly she's going over the fight again and thinking about like how Charles fought. And like one thought will pop in, which was that's hot. Immediately followed by shit.
And with that, we bring to an end our story for this evening. But of course, we couldn't bring this story to a close without one final scene. We aren't going to travel that far from the house we just left. The house that sunk into a sinkhole. Because if anyone did their math as they were counting off the kindred, they counted 8, not 9. Out of the earth, in the mass grave, in the backyard, emerges a figure from the very ground itself. However, this particular figure that emerges from the ground looks worse for wear than any of the others. They double over to a knee, their eyes bulging, They have shocks of brown and gray hair, long and unkempt. Their clothes, a ratty band t-shirt, ripped jeans, sneakers. They have a cuffed bracelet on one wrist. They have a mess of a goatee. They probably look like they're in their mid-30s. But what is most bothersome about them is the cough. Because kindred don't cough. They don't even breathe. But this one coughs. And as it does so, spores come out of its mouth. And in its belly, amidst the blood, vines grow. And this is where our story comes to a close. Thank you so much to all of our amazing players. Thank you to everybody watching at home. If you're enjoying this story, go follow St. Pete by Night on all of the social media you see down below and in the description. And if you're interested in what we do here, come join our amazing community. You can be a part of the St. Pete by Night community by following that Discord link. We have all sorts of fun activities that take place. We have watch parties. We have, one-shots. We have all kinds of cool activities that you can be a part of. So come join our community and check us out. You might like what you see, so come be a part of us. We've got lots of really cool programming on the way. This Friday over on YouTube, we have the second episode of Hell Hounds, our other Werewolf the Apocalypse story, which takes place in the Rage Across Tampa canon. It's that group of assholes that is the reinforcements from Michigan that have come to seek or cause havoc for this particular sept. So go check them out. And then in a week and a half, we have Laura Tutu joining us on After Dark. So you could come see our interview with Laura Tutu on After Dark. It is going to be a blast. So come back. Just stick around. Our St. Pete by Night channel. We'd love to have you. Thank you for tuning in. We really, really appreciate you being here. For these amazing players, I'm Kent. Have a lovely evening. We'll see you soon.